Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Chris Pajak. That man right there is Josh Williams. And today we will be previewing Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the Champions League. Josh, doesn't get much bigger than this, or does it?
No, heavyweight clash, innit? Real Madrid have won the most, haven't they? Is Liverpool second, or is AC Milan still?
Yeah.
Still AC Milan.
I think they're on 8, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's still as heavyweight as you can get, really. And AC Milan nowadays, even though they've just beat Real Madrid 3-1, I think Liverpool are a bit of a better side. So, two of the best teams in Europe, definitely.
Two of the best teams in Europe. Now, a question for you. Obviously, everyone keeps saying to me, "Oh, Liverpool, Real Madrid, and all that." And obviously, you got City game on the horizon, and we'll be previewing that as well on Redmen Plus this week. Is it a big game, or is it just the two clubs? Because the Champions League format, I'm not sure. I think it's taken away a little bit of something from this.
I disagree a little bit because it's a big game for Real Madrid. Real Madrid need points. I think they're currently 2 points above the spots where you basically just get kicked out the competition.
PSV in 24th.
Yeah. They've got Atalanta away after coming to Anfield, so that won't be easy. But the final two games are against Brest and Salzburg, so they should be safe. But I do think if you're Real Madrid, you're getting a little bit itchier and a little bit worried in that. And I think the final day of the Champions League, when everyone plays at the same time, I think that'll be boss.
Yeah, I think it will be as well. I think you're right there. Now, are you excited for the game?
Yeah, I am, yeah. I think largely because, well, a few reasons. I think number one, Real Madrid have been what's the word? The
bogey team?
Bogey team, yeah, for Liverpool over the past couple of years. No matter how good we are, no matter how bad they are, we can't seem to beat them. We have a new manager now with a slightly different playing style and things like that. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts things. And on top of that, there's no major jeopardy for Liverpool because we are top of the whole tournament so far. And Real Madrid have some issues compared to previous seasons. So for a number of reasons, as I've just said, I'm a little bit more hopeful that we can get a win this time. But it's one of them where even if we don't, a draw would still be fine, really, wouldn't it? So it's one of them.
I'm excited because it's Liverpool Real Madrid, but I'm not excited because it's Liverpool Real Madrid. And if that doesn't make sense, I totally get it. But it's because I'm so beaten down by Real Madrid.
Scarred, mate.
Yeah. Been to 2 Champions League finals. Watched Real Madrid beat us in both of them. Painful. And, obviously, in the last 5, we've drawn 1 and lost 4 against them. And so, and as you said, it kind of doesn't matter what Real Madrid turn up like. They always seem to be able to have a little bit of a jinx on us. And I don't know whether that's because of the European royalty thing. We like to say, as Liverpool fans, we're European royalty, and we are, rightly so. And we've got a hex on other clubs in Europe. And it feels like Real Madrid are that to us. Yeah. And I don't like that situation, to be honest with you.
What you mean.
Obviously, we lost the last one 1-0. It was Karim Benzema, actually, wasn't it, in March 2023. Before that, in the first leg, they whooped us 5-2 at Anfield there for that one. Yeah, lovely. It was Stade de France, we lost 1-0. We drew 0-0 with them in the quarter-final second leg after going down in Madrid 3-1. So it's been tough sledding. Currently, Real Madrid, as everybody knows by now, by the way, second in La Liga, and you've got to preface that with a game in hand and 4 points behind Barcelona. Barcelona did thump them 4-0 a few weeks ago and stuff. So,
did you think that would be worse though? When I had a little look at that this week, and I found out that if they win that game in hand, they'll just be a point behind Barcelona.
The way that everyone's talking about them and this downfall type of thing, yeah. But then equally, Barcelona drew at the weekend and Real Madrid walked away with a 3-0 win. So they've closed the gap a little bit because it would have been 3 points if Barcelona had won the game at the weekend and stuff. So I was a little bit surprised because all I'm hearing out of Madrid and out of the Spanish media is that, Carlo Ancelotti just can't get it working and stuff, and he's changed things around quite a bit. And I think the biggest problem for Madrid at the moment is that Alaba, Carvajal, Militao, Vinicius Junior, Tchouaméni, Rodrigo and Ramon are all basically out for this game. Obviously, the Vinicius Junior stuff happened, I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? That the news kind of broke. Now, interestingly, Madrid have played loads of different tactics this season, Josh. They've gone with 4-4-2, 3-4-3, 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1 and 4-2-3-1. And just to sort of showcase it there on FB Ref, they started off in a 4-1-4-1, went to a 4-3-3, then did a couple of 4-2-3-1s, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, stuck with 4-3-3, went 4-4-2, randomly threw a 3-4-3 in 6 weeks ago. 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 4-4-2. Although I would technically say that I think that was actually more of a 4-2-3-1 at the weekend. Interestingly, I think the big talking point is around Kylian Mbappe, isn't it?
Well, I think those formations for me kind of illustrate two things. Number one, the injury concerns that he's had, and he's had to consistently change things. But number two, kind of accommodating this new way of playing, this new setup with Kylian Mbappe, because they've gave themselves a problem basically by buying arguably the best player in the world. They've stockpiled two largely identical players who won exactly the same spot, and it's very funny when this sort of things happen. Like a couple of seasons back, United did this. They were going relatively well under Solskjaer. Rashford was over there, and they bought Sancho, thinking Sancho would be alright over here. He weren't. He wanted Rashford's spot. They end up selling Sancho, I think, to Chelsea now and things like that. He goes on loan to Borussia Dortmund and that. So it's always funny when a team gets kind of blinded by player quality. The player comes in and you realise, hang on a minute, how are we going to get him on a pitch here? So I think there's been lots of shifting, finding a way of maximising Mbappe and Vinicius at the same time. And I think that's, like on the weekend, I think they played as a front two, didn't they?
Well, I had it down as a 4-2-3-1 because they had Mbappe off the left-hand side, but I think the week before they had it as a 4-4-2 with Mbappe and Vinicius Junior both up top, according to FOTMOB. We'll go through some of them now.
Yeah, go on.
So according to FOTMOB, this was against Barcelona in the 4-0 drubbing. They actually played a 4-4-2 formation. Now, Camavinga played on the left-hand side, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Bellingham playing off the right-hand side, and Mbappe and Vinicius Junior up top. If you move on then to the Milan game that they lost 3-1, they stuck with Vinicius Junior and Mbappe. They had Bellingham off the left with Modric, Tchouaméni and Valverde on the right-hand side. They're just trying to... This reeks of someone who's just trying to find a tune out of his side.
Yeah.
And because of the injuries, like you said, Osasuna, they go and win. They play Vinicius off the left. He gets a hat-trick. Mbappe through the centre and Rodrigo on the right. He picks up an injury. He'll be out for our game. I think he should be out for 5 to 6 weeks. Then Legan at the weekend, you can see he played Mbappe off the left. He actually gets a goal and played really well. Vinicius Junior up top, Bellingham in the 10 and Goulet off the right-hand side covering for Rodrigo. Valverde ended up playing at right back with that. Ceballos and Camavinga in the centre. And this sort of just illustrates the point really that they haven't found a way of it working yet, and they're going to have an even tougher game. It probably will be Brahim Diaz if they play a 4-2-3-1 to come in on the right-hand side. You'd imagine Mbappe stays off the left because he seems to have found a little bit of form of fitness, and Vinicius Junior up top. Now, Dan was speaking to a Spanish journalist yesterday who said it worked really well, but you can't imagine Vinicius Junior in every single game as a centre-forward because he just doesn't have the physicality of, say, someone like Lewandowski who's doing it for Barcelona, can you?
He's wasted as well over there. I'd be disappointed if I was the player, considering they were all claiming he deserved the Ballon d'Or last season from the left-sided spot, and he gets moved away from there through no wrongdoing, purely because you've signed Mbappe and Mbappe wants to play over there. So definitely some issues, like. But Vinicius is going to be out for the Liverpool game, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because that could do them a favour in a weird sort of way. That could kind of remove a bit of a tactical problem for Ancelotti. But then at the same time, Vinicius is obviously extremely good. So there's two ways of looking at that. Ancelotti could be relatively happy considering he doesn't have to put up with that Mbappe-Vinicius problem for one game or a few games now. But then at the same time, if you're playing against Liverpool, you're going to use the transition a little bit. Vinicius is one of the best in the world at using the transition. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one works. But I think on top of everything, I'm not sure if it's specifically in the agenda, the Toni Kroos thing, no?
Yeah, absolutely. We should talk about it because I want us to get them on the board because I think everybody's talking about Mbappe as, you know, one of the main issues that Real Madrid have, and for me, and I think you'll agree, is the biggest issue that they've got is that they haven't got a replacement for Toni Kroos, and I think that for me is probably the biggest issue because they've had this past master in for so long now, haven't they, who's able to control the game. And without him in sort of this situation here, they're resorting to Modric, and Modric is a fantastic footballer, but he's not the same footballer as Toni Kroos was for them, is he?
No, well, Toni Kroos was kind of the silent conductor for Real Madrid. Whenever the play needed to be sped up, he would do it. Whenever it needed to be slowed down, he would do it. I think they've kind of lacked an identity, if you want, Real Madrid, in terms of a playing style. And usually that would sting you, but because they've had a player who's essentially got the IQ of a coach on the pitch, Toni Kroos has just done a lot of it for them on autopilot, really. And just having a quick look at the numbers before, just really generic numbers just to illustrate the point. Last season, just in terms of passing, Toni Kroos was the only Real Madrid player who averaged over 100 passes per 90. So Toni Kroos averaged 106 passes per 90 in La Liga last season. The next best was Modric on 88. Mm-hmm. Then Ceballos on 82. So you, in addition to getting in Mbappe, who conflicts a little bit with Vinicius, you're losing a player there who tends to get on the ball over 100 times per game for you. He just stays out the team, just gone like that. And that's quite a hit to absorb. That's any team's going to struggle with that. You look at City at the moment with Rodri, for example. Even Liverpool, when Van Dijk got injured a few years back, like Van Dijk's a centre half, but sees the ball an absolute ton for Liverpool. So I think absorbing that loss has been tricky for them. But against Liverpool, they are going to be able to play on the break predominantly, and I think Kroos' loss for me is a bit more of a problem when you're facing the likes of, I don't know, Malaga or Leganes or something like that. But when they can play vertical, which has been their problem this season, they've been too vertical. They should be able to be vertical against Liverpool at Anfield. Liverpool, I think, are going to dominate the ball. So it could work against us almost in this game.
Yeah, I think they're going to be working the space on the right hand side and the left hand side as well. And one of the things that I found interesting, I went back and looked at the Barcelona game, El Clasico, and one of the things for me is they may have set up, I'll just bring up their screen before I go to the board again just to get this right. Yeah, they set up with essentially a 4-4-2. Right. So we got their players there.
When was this for?
This was El Clasico a few weeks ago. And obviously Barcelona beat them 4-0. They actually, the game was a lot closer than a 4-0 scoreline would suggest. I would say to anyone who's watched it, I think you'll agree with me. Real Madrid were in the game quite a lot, but the big opportunities, and it just all seemed to go Barcelona's way. But that's not to say that what Real Madrid did really did help Barcelona as well. Because what was happening is, I'm just looking at it now, we had Vinicius Jr. over here, Kylian Mbappe over here. Now, this central four really tucked in tight, this midfield four. And this midfield four was Bellingham on the right-hand side, Valverde, Tchouaméni and Camavinga. And I'm talking, they were that sort of close in together. Now, when Vinicius Jr. was pressing, he was pressing in a straight line. So he was coming at the guy like that, leaving two options. Now, anyone who's watched Liverpool at any point over the last few years, or any top pressing side, these guys bend the runs. They at least cut one of the options off. They might bend it that way, they might bend it that way. It means there's only one pass on. Now, you would expect these guys to come forwards, and they started to. And then they push forwards like that, and there was so much space for the likes of, in Barcelona's side, it was Lewandowski coming in, and the other attacking midfielder, Lopez. These guys were finding so much space, but because they were leaving the option there, and they were so sort of compact, the option to the right-hand side and the left was there all the time. Now, actually, the way Barcelona did it, they shoved their left back like that, and went more that side over to Balde, and it was just a shit show of a press from Real Madrid. And it makes me think that they are, because of the way that Barcelona cut them apart, because of the way they weren't able to press, I've got a feeling that, just like you said before, I think they're going to play a little bit of low block like that, and really ask the question of Liverpool, how are you going to break us down? But if they compact the midfield like they did against Barcelona, I think Liverpool will have quite a lot of success over on the sides, to be honest with you. Yeah,
I agree. I think one thing with Ancelotti past couple of seasons, he's recognised what Liverpool are good at, recognised what Klopp's about, And rather than giving the likes of Salah and Mane and Diaz and even Nunes the space in behind to run into, Madrid have just kind of sat off a little bit. And given Liverpool's chaotic approach to attacking, if they would force it, the ball would then get turned over, Liverpool would be at 6s and 7s, and Vinicius would just go, or Vizigo would go, or whatever. And Liverpool would end up conceding on the back of it, or giving away a shot or whatever.
And what Ancelotti's doing there, Josh, I think what you're saying is he's recognised what our strengths are, and he's gone to do that. But he's also recognised what our weaknesses were under Klopp, which is the ball into that space there, isn't it? Quite obviously.
Yeah, but the thing is, going forward in this game, I think Slotter's kind of removed Liverpool's vulnerability in transition. Now, we only accelerate the game, we only really try things when we're set. So, putting out the immediate fire for Vinicius isn't going to be playing, putting out the immediate Mbappe fire might be a little bit easier for this team compared to us last season, us the season before. But at the same time, Madrid found a way against us when we were at our absolute peak, you know. So it's funny how things work out, but I think for this game, I would expect Liverpool to be facing a block. I don't think Madrid will press unless we score first. I think we need to get a lead in this game. Go about it relatively calm at the start. Make sure you get the first goal. Stay calm. Don't force it. Don't give Madrid opportunities in transition. And hopefully get to a point where they're trying to press. And if they trying to press us, as you say, like they did against Barcelona, we can just dance around.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you looking at right now for Liverpool? Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold's back in training. Is he someone that you're looking to try and rush straight back in, or are you thinking there's bigger fish to fry here? We're top of the Champions League. We're not rushing Trent in.
I think I would ordinarily be eager to play Trent, but because it's not only rushing him back, it's rushing him back to face Mbappe. So given that, I would probably give him the night off for this one. Maybe play him on the bench or something like that. And bring him on later on or something like that, potentially further forward even.
Next question, because it's been mentioned on the podcast
I know
yesterday.
What you're going to say, yeah.
Bradley or Gomez?
Yeah. I would be really tempted by Gomez for this one. Just because of what Mbappe offers, obviously, but it would be interesting also to see Bradley cope against them. And maybe Bradley would ask questions of him going the other way as well. Because Mbappe doesn't trap, Mbappe doesn't defend. So you could... Who's Madrid's left back nowadays? It's a lad. Is it Garcia?
Yeah, I think it was in the last game. Let me just double check. Yeah, Garcia played in the last game.
See, if you get to a point where you're overloading Garcia with Salah and Bradley, you know, and potentially Szoboszlai drifting over there, or Jones, whoever's playing the 10 for us, that could be a way of flipping that weakness that we've got on its head. Maybe leaving Kanate to deal with Mbappe, which sounds good to me. Especially, you know, considering he plays with him at country level and everything. So there's different ways of looking at that. I think the easy answer is play Gomez there because he's better defensively. But if you can flip it on its head, especially at Anfield, I would be tempted to use Bradley and kind of make use of Garcia.
I think we know that Kostas is likely to miss out, so it's likely to be Robertson on the left-hand side in this game as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an option there if you wanted to play Gomez over there and whatever. But I think I would go with what you've just said there. I'd have Andy Robertson at left back, Virgil van Dijk, Ibu Konate and Conor Bradley. And one of the reasons is, again, coming back from that Barcelona game, I know they did it with their left back, but I would be quite interested to see the Konate versus Mbappe thing, because I think he's stronger and just as fast as Kylian Mbappe. Leave Robertson there so that he's not charging up and down the wing, and use Conor Bradley to sort of try and get round the press that way if they are going to press our double pivot.
See, if you did that, I like that. But if you did that, I think... Given we've got City in a few days and Robertson's just played and he wasn't very good, I think you want to give Robertson a bit of a break before City. So if you're going to play like that as well, where
maybe use Gomez there.
Exactly, yeah, it makes a bit of sense to use Gomez there. Let Konate fully shuffle over to Mbappe. Give Virgil the centre and let Bradley, as I said, overload the Madrid left back with Salah. I'm assuming it's going to be Garcia. I'm not too sure who else they've got at the minute. I think, is Mendy injured, is he?
Yeah, I think so. And it's Rudiger and Asensio played the last game with Valverde playing at right back. But I think it's likely to be Asensio,
Garcia's
Vasquez, Asensio, Rudiger, and potentially Mendy could come back.
Yeah, Garcia's played 15 and a half 90s so far this season, so that's not bad. Is that true? That can't be like that.
No, last season,
sorry, that's last season, yeah. To be fair, I didn't even know we played that much last season. I need to do my own work on him a little bit. This season, let's have a look. Mendy has played more than I'm like, but I'm not too... He's played about 500 minutes this season, Garcia. 10 appearances, 5 starts. Mendy, 8 starts, 9 appearances.
Yeah, I think it might be sort of Vasquez, essentially, Rudiger and Mendy, potentially, or Garcia. So it's going to be one of them. In terms of the midfield, everyone looks to be available right now. Harvey Elliott obviously isn't up to scratch in terms of his fitness right now. No, shouldn't say it like that. Harvey Elliott isn't match fit.
Yeah.
Obviously, McAllister didn't play at the weekend. He came off the bench, of course. Is it as simple as Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai? Or are you looking at Curtis Jones and thinking this might be a game for him?
I think Gravenberch and McAllister for me is set. I think McAllister obviously had the South America trip, and when he comes back into the team against Southampton, I think we felt immediately improved. And given Southampton's way of playing, the building from the back and that, I think going with a little bit more of an industrious midfield with more legs to cover ground and press them, with Jones in and Szoboszlai and Gravenberch with McAllister on the bench, I think made a lot of sense. But I think against Madrid and against City, McAllister starts both for me. Gravenberch obviously keeps his place, and the 10 I suppose is a question, but given Szoboszlai's just scored, I think you want to use that as momentum a little bit, and Jones comes off early, doesn't he, against Southampton. It'd be interesting to see whether that was fitness related because he's going to start this game or because he's just weighing up to it. I don't think it was his best game.
Or whether it was just get some minutes back under McAllister's legs as well. It could have been.
Yeah, could have been that, yeah. But I think I'd probably lean towards Szoboszlai, just hopefully using that momentum behind him where he's just got a goal. And I think he played 90 minutes in that game as well, fell himself into the ground. But I'm not... Either way, you could go either way on that one. I wouldn't be too opinionated. I'm happy with either.
I think the front three is interesting for me, Josh. Obviously, I think Mo's going to play on the right-hand side unless he's pissed everybody off too much with his interview. Diaz or Gakpo, I think Diaz comes back into the side just like McAllister does.
I agree, yeah.
Is it just Nunes, or are you thinking of doing something crazy?
No, I think you've got to go with Nunes. I think it'd be nice to use Jota, but he's not fit yet. And I think he'll play on the bench. I think he'll come on for some minutes towards the end, maybe get a few more minutes against City on the weekend. But I think given the current situation, I think the only 9 you've got really is Nunes, so I think you've got to play him. I don't view Cody as a 9 personally. I like that he's getting all his minutes out here this season. I think he's benefiting from it. So I would do Nunes, and maybe in this game, because Real Madrid are maybe going to sit, maybe going to be a bit more confident maybe than Southampton. They're going to come out a little bit more. Maybe Nunes will get a few more opportunities in behind. Maybe Liverpool get a lead or something like that. But yeah, I'd go with Nunes.
The only thing I will say is I wonder whether Liverpool have looked at that Barcelona game that I looked at and saw what Lewandowski was doing coming back and making himself available and what was happening. And it was really interesting. The 2 centre-halves one of them ended up following Lewandowski into the centre.
Yeah.
And I wondered whether could Arne Slot try and do something where he actually plays Diaz in the 9 again, tries to drag one of Real Madrid's centre-backs out. Maybe he's playing off this side, right? Maybe he's dragging him out. And what does that do for Mo Salah?
Yeah.
I think it's a big ask because I don't think that they are going to be on the front foot like they were at the Bernabeu against Barcelona, where they're wanting to try and dominate the game. If he thinks that Barcelona are going to sit in a little bit more, 2 banks of 4 and a 2, then maybe you don't do that. But if you get a sniff of they might come to play, I just wonder whether that might be the option you leave Gakpo on the left-hand side. It's the out-of-the-box shot.
No, I don't mind it. I really don't. I think, especially when it comes to Rudiger, you know, his reasoning the other week, Sloss, for doing that was because Jonathan Tah likes a battle, physical unit. Rudiger's not as much of a unit, but he likes a battle.
Yeah.
He'll step on your toes, and he will get in Nunes' ear as well. You can imagine that. So, if Slot doesn't fancy playing into that, how old's Rudiger nowadays? I think he is getting on, like,
31.
31. Can probably still do a job, to be fair, when it comes to his pacing behind and things like that. But
I think he's one of the top centre-halves in the world.
Oh, he has been, yeah, without question. But I think he would rather have a battle with a striker who wants the ball to feet than someone running the other way. Diaz can do that, but Diaz can also drop a little bit and get away from the battle with him 1v1, holding up the ball. Núñez will probably do a bit more target man stuff with Rudiger, which is not gonna help. Rudiger always plays really well against Haaland.
Yeah.
And Haaland's kind of Núñez on steads, really, isn't he? So I don't mind that shout. That's a good shout, yeah. But the only thing with that is with Gakpo up against. Man, do you think Valverde played right back, didn't he?
He did, but I think I just said it. I thought it was going to be there. I think it might be Vasquez.
Was he fit again now?
Yeah, they reckon he might be back fit.
Right.
And then Valverde might play in one of in the sort of three if he plays a 4-2-3-1. But then this is the point: you kind of don't know what he's going to do. They've done so many different things.
Yeah.
I reckon this is a suck it and see first half. What the hell are Madrid doing?
Well, that's what Scott's been doing all season.
Exactly. And then second half, unleash the fucking Kraken.
Yeah, unleash Anfield a little bit would be nice. But no, I agree with you. And I think going back a couple of seasons now, it's always been Ancelotti coming, knowing exactly what Liverpool are going to do, and using the tactics to nullify. He did it with Napoli as well. They got a few results with us when he was in charge of Napoli. In this game, you'd like to think Liverpool will not play into that identity so much. Will be a little bit more shrewd about it. And second half, I wouldn't be surprised if, as you say, you kind of work out what Madrid are doing, and you think, right, this is how they're defending. So this is how we need to attack them. We need to go round them, or we need to go over the top, or we need to build through the lines, or whatever it is. I think Liverpool probably have the makeup now to do that a little bit more than previous seasons.
Okay, Josh, thank you very much. Before you go, what's your score prediction for the game?
On my podcast during the week, I said 2-2. So
fuck off.
I'm going to stick with that.
Okay, I like it. I was going to say it as well, so I'll go 1-1. Just to be slightly different. And I think that's a good result for Liverpool, and I think it's probably what Madrid are hoping for, to be honest. I think they've got some easy games coming up in the Champions League. But
if we're ever going to beat Real Madrid, though, it has to be said,
we need to do it at some point.
It should be now. Yeah, it should be now.
It should be. All right, 2-1 to Liverpool. Thanks very much, Josh. You twisted me arm, mate. Thanks very much for watching on YouTube. If you want the second show this week from us, available on redmenplus.com right now. In fact, it's not available right now. It'll be available on Thursday. It'll be the Liverpool-Manchester City preview. So join redmenplus.com and you will be able to get 2 deep dives every single week. Ta-ra.